Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. It's- I was just at page 2 over the weekend, and I ran a session of Swords and Wizardry Light. That's pretty much what Blades and Arcana is going to morph into. And I like running with a light rule set. I could probably run like Easy D6 or something like that too. But I like running with light rule sets at conventions because they run faster. When a game runs fast, you can run more encounters, you can run more combat, you can get your players involved. But I have a few tricks to the trade that I use at conventions, and I figure, you know, maybe one or two of these will work for you because running games at a convention is not like running games at your home table, your VTT or whatever you're doing it, because pretty much it's a one and done. Although with my stuff, you can bring your characters back, but pretty much it's a one and done. So because of that, you want to make sure your players, whether it's a 3-hour slot or a 4-hour slot, get the most value for their money, entertainment, enjoyment, excitement. You don't want something that's slow paced. You want something that keeps them engaged. So I do that partially because people can roll out characters for a light rule set at the table, and I allow them to come back at any other convention that I'm at where I'm running a game and survive 2 sessions with me. You're now second level. That to me adds a little bit and there's an extra value to that character. You don't want them to die necessarily because, well, they can actually improve. I can actually bring them back. If they gain magic items, they can actually use them. By the way, it's a convention game. It's not your home game. You don't have to worry about game balance. You don't have to worry about giving away too much magic. Please let them have it, especially if it's a one shot. let them have it. You can't really go wrong with that stuff because it's not going to ruin a campaign. At worst, it's going to make your players overpowered for the situation they're in. And honestly, they won't be complaining. Sincerely doubt it. But what else should you do? Well, one thing you shouldn't do, you shouldn't allow your players to shot. I swear to if people are going to be creating new characters at your table, pretty much like I do with Swords and Wizardry Light, Blades and Arcana Light, if that's the case, you got to have, here's your starter pack, here's your starter backpack, here's the weapons that you can choose from. Don't have them nickel and diming everything because it's a waste of time. I know some players like to shop for everything. Give them 5 minutes. Hey, if there's anything that's not that you don't already have, that wasn't part of one of these pre-chosen packs, let me know, and I'll tell you if you can get it. They're asking the quest giver, right? The priest, the barman, the noble, whoever is hiring them, if they can get extra stuff. But you want to keep them from shopping. It is a time sink. 2 or 3, I'm losing track of the numbers here, but the next thing to remember is really keep the action moving. Get your players involved in combat or interaction or whatever it is pretty much right from the start. You just don't want some boring sloth through the wilderness. I get them right to the manor, and surrounding the manor is a graveyard. Whoa. Gravestones, sarcophagi, tombs. There's a lot of stuff for them to explore. Let them. That gets them a chance to warm up before going on to the main location. But now they're in combat. So how do you handle combat? How do you handle initiative? So I do initiative, party initiative, individual initiative. Does not work at conventions. And first, because I will run with as many as 10, 12 players at a table. The person to my left is the first person to roll initiative for the first round. And when the party's actions are taken, the party's actions start with that player and then proceed clockwise. The second round goes to the player to their left. They roll initiative. They take the first action, and it proceeds around the table, and so on. So, hey, combat takes 3 rounds. Next encounter where there's an initiative, the fourth player in line gets to roll initiative. Therefore, one person isn't always hogging the die. One person isn't going to get blamed for bad initiative. It's spread amongst the party, and it keeps everybody that rotating who goes first. Is it gamified? Yes. Have I played in games where the GM will have you sit in order of dexterity score from highest to lowest? Yeah, that's probably more realistic. But you got people who come with friends, with spouses, with children and family members. You don't want to deprive them of the ability to sit with their family just because one person rolled a better score than the other for their dexterity or agility. If you are playing with 3D terrain, like the convention, a lot of times it's a chance to throw off 3D terrain. Your players are going to do what? They can't help it. Don't blame them. They're going to metagame. They're going to be looking at that map in front of them, and then they're going to be going, I want to go where that looks cool. Keep the pace moving. Keep it fast. Keep them off balanced. Now, how do you do that? Well, for me, I'm a little loosey-goosey with it. I have my map, and I have what's inside, and I have what's at what location. But hey, this is a living environment. Things can move around. You want to make sure your players don't have a lot of downtime, because when they have downtime, they are going to start to overthink and try to go to whatever they perceive on that open map to be important. And even if you're running without terrain, you want to get as much gaming in as possible. If they scrounge, and it sounds like a good scrounge, for the enjoyment of the game, go with it. My session, we had a player was playing a halfling fighter. He was using his nose to, what do I smell? Is there food cooking? Well, you know what? Yeah, there was food cooking. I actually, in my head, when I heard that, I think, oh, well, there's an encounter that I got to flesh out, which is easy enough because the players haven't gotten there yet. But what was just going to be a few zombie servants became a whole kitchen crew preparing food because they wanted to smell food. Well, you're going to smell food. Now, this isn't necessarily a secret or a huge trick, but when you know that you got about an hour or 45 minutes left in the game session and the players are nowhere near their goal, don't move the players. Move the goal. Put it in front of them. They need to get to the apex of the adventure. Listen, they paid for it. This isn't your home campaign where it can run out over 2 or 3 sessions and have its natural course. Your players paid for it, whether they paid for attending the convention and some conventions you pay extra for the game slot, but they invested in a good time. My general house rule is, unless the player is a real asshole at the game table, I'm not going to kill you off within the first hour of the session. Why would I? You're there to have a good time. Now, some people deserve it. It's not a hard-written rule. But you should feel the threat, but at the same time, it shouldn't necessarily be lethal until you've gotten your money's worth. Remember, convention play is as much about the convention itself as it is about the game at the table. And what do I mean by that? You want the players to have a good memory of Philadelphia Area Game Expo, North Texas RPG Con, ShireCon, TotalCon, Origins, Gen Con, GaryCon, Gamehole. You want them to leave with the holy shit. You do that by responding to your players. You can tweak the adventure as it goes on to make it more immersive, to make it respond to their input. You're not, but you are selling a game. Maybe you're running a game for a publisher, but you're really there as a representative of the convention. Give your players a good time. Give them have them be at risk. The threat of death or even TPK. Some of the best adventures, the best game sessions I've been in, have resulted in TPKs. But it's been a TPK near the end. It was never one that was just randomly popped up in the beginning and everybody walks off after 45 minutes. At the same time, if your players are somehow winding their way right toward the goal, and everything is going great for them, and you realize, this happened to me one time at ShireCon, wow, they're going to finish this in about half the allotted time. Okay, well, you've finished your main goal, and as you do that, a secret door opens up behind. And then they had a little bit more to explore, a little bit more to find, a little more treasure to look at, and a little bit more risk. Remember, your job is to be fair, but to entertain and literally give good memories of the convention that these people are playing at. At least that's how I see it. When my players leave and everybody is psyched and even knows that the characters die at the table, or leaving all pumped and had a great time and they got stories to tell, you did a good job. And you sold the convention experience well. So, what are your tricks to running games at conventions? When I say games, RPG sessions, what are the tricks that you use? What are the how do you manage the pace? How do you keep your players constantly involved and keep them from metagaming? I'd like to hear. Leave your comments below, and don't write this in stone just yet, but I'm thinking that there may be a bonus short-ish live stream Thursday around noonish, maybe. I'll see if I can get somebody to join me on this. I'm trying to get an extra live stream on weekly that will be during the afternoon. So those across the pond, those across the other side of the world, our friends in Aussie land and Kiwis and such, have an opportunity to participate in the live stream. So we're working on it. So pencil in Thursday, early afternoon, Eastern time. Okay, folks? On that note, be safe, be well, God bless, roll the dice, roll them well. Live stream tomorrow night, Wednesday at 8. Hopefully I'll see you all there. Laters.